Hello everybody, you're welcome to today's episode. So we are discussing how to accurately measure your blood pressure by yourself at home, right? Why do we measure blood pressure? We already discussed earlier that hypertension is a silent killer. So most of the time you do not know that you have hypertension until you measure. Then people who are already on hypertension treatment, most of them are advised to check at home so they are sure they are not doing the wrong thing, and they monitor when the blood pressure goes up too high. So the light was fluctuating a bit. So what happens is that you measure, and if you're able to measure accurately, chances are that you are supplying your doctor the right information when you call. Say, oh, my BP is high. Some people will say, oh, my BP is high, but it's really not high. So what we're trying to do today is to make sure we equip you with the right information so that when you measure at home, you are getting the right reading. Some people call and say, oh, my BP is so high, I'm afraid. No, but you have to measure it the right way. I always say, okay, let's do it again. And most times you find out that they did not use the right steps. There are steps for everything. Sorry for this light. For some reason our lights keep tripping up. So this is Rose. Rose, say hello to everybody.
Hello everybody.
Rose is a staff of Orange Smile. If you've been here, of course you have seen her once or twice. So the first thing is, when you want to measure your blood pressure, it's best that you do it after you have eaten, or away from your food, like 30 minutes after, or even if you haven't eaten, but make sure you don't eat immediately, then start to check your blood pressure. It's very, very important. You don't just eat then start to check your blood pressure. You give yourself 30 minutes. So why that 30 minutes? Like some people, anyway, that's general advice, but for things like caffeine, maybe you take caffeinated coffee, or you ate a lot of food, you might need to empty your bowel. The main thing is that if you smoke or you take caffeinated coffee or any psychoactive drug, it's very, very important you don't do this before checking your blood pressure. We are checking for pressure. You don't want to have something that is already giving pressure to the system. So if you want to go to the toilet to take a leak, you can urinate, then sit down properly. And the first step will be to this is Rose. Rose, can you sit upright? This is Rose's chair. There has to be Rose, stand up here. Sit down. The chair has to have a back, so you rest your back on the chair. I don't know if this demonstration is clear. You rest your back on the chair, then you keep your hands on a table, and while on the table, it has to be at the same level with your chest region, right? That way is the best way. You can't just sit anyhow. And the third thing is that your leg has to be on the floor, stamped on the floor. You can't cross your leg. You can't sit down anyhow. You have to sit down upright with your leg on the floor. And the next thing is your cuff, right? You have to use the right cuff. It's not every cuff that is the right size for every hand. There are some people that their hands are so big that this cuff is not enough for them. Okay, let me see. It's not enough for them, so we are still talking on. Another thing is that this blood pressure must be measured on the skin. You can't have a cloth then put the cuff on the clothes. No. That has to, the cuff of the equipment has to be directly on the skin of the person, or your skin if you are measuring yourself, right? And I'm teaching this for the automatic machines only, right? So you want the cuff to be above your elbow. This is the elbow, but you want the cuff to be above the elbow, like in the mid-arm, like 2 cm above the elbow. Then you tighten it, but not too hard. If you make it too hard, it becomes a problem. So here we are, we tighten it. It's often advised to use the left hand, right? But when you use the left hand, the challenge with it is that sometimes the right hand might give a different reading, but most of the readings come with the left hand. Do you understand that? Okay, so you plug it in. This is actually very, very simple because it's just an automatic machine, so it's not like you have to have any special expertise. As long as you do the right things, right? We mentioned about going to urinate to make sure that there's nothing in your bowel. Just empty your bowel. We mentioned that you shouldn't take coffee, you shouldn't take alcohol or cigarettes before, sorry, anything you smoke, any psychoactive substance actually, before you come in to check your BP. Like, give yourself like 30 minutes of freedom from, you know, those substances before you come sit down. And when you sit down to check your BP, make sure you sit down and rest for at least 5 minutes. So let's say Rose has been resting for 5 minutes and she's ready to take her BP. The first thing is you have to sit down and you stamp your feet on the floor. You don't just cross your leg or sit anyhow. And your back must rest on the chair. Most importantly, you should not talk. You know, this is a sphygmomanometer automatic one. It's measuring a pressure, so you don't want to add any pressure. You don't want to be moving up and down, shaking your body, talking, you know, gesticulating and all that. No. So you want to keep it, and all you have to do is to press the start button. So now the equipment is running. The test is a simple test, very simple test. And if you are able to get the right machine, you are most likely going to end up with the right results, right? Yeah, because that's actually the reason why you are doing this, to get the right BP. And for patients that have chronic hypertension, it's been there a while, you know, it's always good that they monitor themselves. This is something I advise everybody to do at home. Everybody should have it at home. If you have been diagnosed of BP and you are on BP medication, you should have it at home so that you monitor yourself. Don't depend on, oh, when I get to the pharmacy or when I get to the hospital, then I'll run a test. No. So our test is finished, and Rose, do you want to share your results? Okay, and you can see, as I explained earlier in some of the other videos, these machines are able to give you a wonderful reading, right? I think this will give you an upside down figure because we are using a mirror image. So the first figure is your systolic, the second one is your diastolic. For this particular machine, yes, the top one is always your systolic pressure reading, second one is your diastolic pressure reading. So I think we already have other courses where we discussed to find out, okay, what does systolic mean, what does diastolic mean. So from there you can know when the pressure is high or when it's low. This kind of machine is good because it tells you if it's high or low, so you don't need to calculate anything. And also this is the pulse reading. The final figure here is the pulse reading. So thank you very much for watching. Rose, thank you very much. Orange Smile Pharmacy, thank you. So I hope you can measure your blood pressure by yourself at home accurately, following the steps given. So thank you.